Hello Future Focus fam! Today we have an exciting video for those of you who want to know what all it takes to become an astronaut. So stay tuned to find out everything about astronaut training and what their life is like after becoming one. So exploring the space is a fantasy that a lot of people have. But practically doing it or even qualifying for a space expedition is no easy feat. With passion, you also need to have a strong education in STEM fields. For those of you who are actually serious about becoming an astronaut, you better start hitting the books and acing them exams. But here's a catch. Being smart isn't enough. You also gotta be physically fit and healthy. You need to match certain height, weight, and medical requirements to be shortlisted. You may ask why? Well, it is so because astronauts have to go through rigorous training sessions before their space missions. So when the time really comes, they can meet the physical demands of a space flight. Now, before we get into the details of the selection process and the actual training, it's important to know that being an astronaut is way more than just floating around in space or gazing at the pretty stars. It actually requires years of hard work, dedication, and training. The day-to-day life of an astronaut includes conducting experiments, maintaining their equipment, carrying out trainings like spacewalks and mission control communications. And working out for at least 2 hours is also part of their job. And then some days they also get to explore the final frontier and make groundbreaking discoveries. And now, if you're ready to learn how to become an astronaut, let's start with the basics. Don't know where to begin? Well, you can start your journey by applying to NASA's Astronaut Candidate Program. It's pretty easy. You just have to go to their website and fill up the application form. But here's a catch. Before applying, you need to see if you're even eligible to apply. And some of these requirements are that you must be a US citizen who holds either a master's degree in a STEM field or have completed 2 years of doctoral program in a STEM field. On top of that, you also need a minimum of 2 years of professional experience in a STEM-related field. Or you could be a pilot in command with 1,000 hours in a jet aircraft. That could also work. Then comes the mandatory requirements like height, weight, and all that stuff. And when you finally meet this extensive list of requirements, you are then invited to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, for the real selection. This one's an intensive 1-week-long process that involves multiple physical and mental tests. Like to see if you can swim, followed by a few other physical exams and interviews. To be honest, it's not going to be easy. But if you make it through, then that just takes you one step closer to your dream of becoming an astronaut. And unfortunately, if you don't make it through, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. You'll be happy to know there are many other organizations and institutes that offer astronaut training programs, like the European Space Agency and the Russian Federal Space Agency, to name a few. Well, the real work begins after you start your training for the astronaut program. And for this, you gotta be patient and hardworking, as it will take a few years till you're ready for a spaceflight. During the training, you will be taught how to work in microgravity, like practicing how to move around, handle the tools and equipments, and doing basic chores like sleeping and eating. You know, astronauts are even taken for scuba diving and space simulation missions to experience zero and microgravity. Yeah, it may sound fun, but it's really difficult to adjust with little or no gravity. So once you learn to maneuver around in microgravity, you are then taught to operate your spacecraft you'll be flying. This includes practicing how to land and dock your aircraft, maintaining and if need be, repairing the equipment, as well as working on robotic gear to assist you in your expeditions. And just so you know, you only get the go-ahead to move forward once you completely master everything, from life support systems to navigation and communications. Another important training includes perfecting your spacewalk. For training purposes, astronauts do their spacewalks in giant stimulated pools. And in case you don't know what spacewalking is, like the name suggests, it's walking out of your spacecraft into the space in your spacesuit. And trust us, it's not as easy as just floating in water and could be really life-threatening if not done correct. Some astronauts say the key is to keep a check on your oxygen levels and monitor your equipment throughout the mission. So you must be wondering, when does the training end and when do you finally go for a space mission? Right after your training program, it's ultimately up to NASA to decide who's ready for the mission. They assess the skills and abilities of each candidate. And sadly, not everyone who completes the training gets to go on a space mission. But if you do get selected, you're in for a once in a lifetime opportunity to explore the space and conduct research and experiments. And the best part? You finally get a chance to put your training to use. And finally, it's time to talk numbers. So, how many people are even shortlisted for the astronaut program? Well, as you may know, it's really competitive. And you won't believe it, but only 11 people out of over 18,000 applicants were selected in the last astronaut program. And now your next question would be, how many space missions are conducted on average? Very few. Say about 4 to 6 a year. And the number of astronauts sent on them varies from mission to mission, but it's typically around 3 to 7. And now finally, the big question in everyone's mind. How much do you get paid as an astronaut? Don't get your hopes high because you won't be making millions. But yeah, astronauts are paid well. The exact annual salary hasn't been made public yet, but it's said to be around $1 to $2 million per mission. And I mean, for space enthusiasts like us, exploring the space itself is just priceless. The training to become an astronaut is truly challenging, yet so fascinating. We hope you enjoyed learning about the astronaut training and what all it takes to be one. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to see more content like this.